November is a big month for games every year, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is a particularly big November. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 games you're not going to be able to ignore in November 2018. Number 10 is the Red Dead Online Beta. Obviously, Red Dead is pretty sweet. And Grand Theft Auto Online itself has its issues, but it's an awesome version of Grand Theft Auto Online, and Red Dead, you know, a lot of us were thinking, is this going to be online? And just from a pure interest standpoint, a lot of us want to know if the online is going to be good, too. They did say they don't really expect it to be a super smooth experience, and that the game itself is going to have teething problems to overcome over time, but it's Red Dead Redemption 2 as an online game, and I think we all would like to at least try that. We do not know the current release date for the beta, but we will be seeing it sometime November on both PS4 and Xbox One. Number 9 is Football Manager 2019, which is of course the premier Football Manager, the franchise that has taken what is somewhat of a niche thing and made it into a big thing, at least for a lot of people, which some have been able to play in the beta if they've pre-purchased it on Steam, with a whole new slew of free agents. What's nice is that this year the touch version of it will also make its way to Switch, which, let's go ahead and say that's great. This is now the second year they've done that, and I think it's a pretty good fit. We're going to see it on Windows and Mac OS on the 2nd, and the Switch will be a little bit later, don't know exactly when, but it probably isn't going to be too far on the heels, and we look forward to playing it. Number 8 is the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which is an HD remake of the original 3 Spyro games, and I say remake because it is way more than a remaster. It's the full Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy treatment, and Spyro is a great few games. It definitely brings a lot of interesting ideas to the kind of 3D platformer we saw a lot of in the 1990s, and in some respects is still ahead of the curve. It is definitely worth playing if you like 3D platformers and haven't played them before, or if you just want to go back to what is a fantastic trilogy of games. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is coming to PS4 and Xbox One on the 13th. Number 7 is Diablo III Eternal Collection for the Nintendo Switch, which offers, in my opinion, a pretty unique take. Not necessarily in Diablo 3, we all know what Diablo 3 is, but to have it on Nintendo Switch sort of opens up some co-op options that, in my opinion, seem a little bit more interesting. You can play it on couch co-op, you can play it together on a few Switches, which, in my opinion, is probably going to be the coolest way to do it. Frankly, Switch has really opened up the sort of local co-op again, and that makes me really happy, and I'm really excited to play Diablo in that same way. Number 6 is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which are enhanced versions of Pokemon Yellow that will have integration with Pokemon Go, but more importantly incorporate a lot of the features of Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and in a lot of ways it seems like a kind of a familiar game that is also kind of a new game. It's been such a long time since I've played Pokemon Yellow that to go back to it would probably feel fairly limiting. I mean, there are definitely reasons I would go back to it in its limited version, but there's also reasons I would go back to it with a lot of the aesthetic and mechanical advances in the Pokemon series. This is that, and I'm fairly excited for it. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are coming to the Switch on November 16th. Number 5 is Darksiders III, which comes to us from THQ Nordic and Gunfire Games. Gunfire Games being made up of a lot of the team that made Darksiders 1 and 2. It actually takes place parallel to the events in those two games. Here we'll be playing as Fury, the sister of one of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, who has to take out the 7 deadly sins. We originally thought this game wasn't going to happen because THQ filed for bankruptcy in 2012, but the whole thing where Nordic Games bought most of THQ's assets and became THQ Nordic basically enabled the creation of a new team in Gunfire Games that, because THQ Nordic owns Darksiders, we're getting treated to another one of these. And let's just be completely serious, this is something they wanted to do, and that's the reason why I want to play it. It's not just some cynical, hey, let's do a third game. This has been a project that these people have wanted to do for years, and it's finally happening. Personally, I'm always for a labor of love as far as video games go, and on November 27th, gamers on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 are going to play it. Number 4 is Overkill's The Walking Dead, which is in some ways, I think, very much going to scratch the itches that Left 4 Dead maybe has left for dead. It's obviously made by Overkill Software, the creators of the Payday series that is in its own way, adjacent to the Left 4 Dead games. However, this takes place in the Walking Dead universe, which therefore gives us a bit more familiarity with the world building aspects of what to expect. They've compared the gameplay to Payday the Heist, and also that the raids in Destiny are reminiscent of things that will happen in the game. And frankly, it's been a long time coming. We've known about this for 4 years and it's finally happening, and I'm fairly excited to play a nice fast-paced shooter based in The Walking Dead. On November 6th, we're going to see it on Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Number 3 is Hitman II, the sequel to a very non-traditionally released Hitman 1, which was itself a reboot that was released episodically and then eventually as a full package, and it's phenomenal. It's seriously like the full realization of what Hitman can be, and the fact that they're continuing it with a sequel just makes me very happy. Sean Bean is also in it, and apparently will also die in it. They've talked about it quite a bit, so I'm not spoiling anything by saying that, and also he's Sean Bean, you knew he was going to die in it. It also brings a cooperative multiplayer mode to the table called Sniper Assassin. Apparently the game, though not episodic, will also have some paid expansions, and seems like a truly massive game. I'm really looking forward to it because I just loved the Hitman reboot. It's hitting Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on the 13th. Number 2 is Battlefield 5, which truly looks like a massive release. It's continuing on where Battlefield 1 came out, concentrating on World War II, and focusing pretty specifically on party-based ideas, as well as scarcity of resources. They've attempted to pare down the game mechanics a bit for realism's sake, but there's also a big argument over historical accuracy that I don't want to get into and honestly don't care much about. I often, as you might guess, care more if the game is good, and Battlefield 1 was good. To continue where they left off there, in my opinion, good idea. Battlefield 5 is hitting Windows, PS4, and Xbox One on the 20th. And finally, number 1 is Fallout 76, which is a pretty non-traditional approach at Fallout, though it may end up looking, appearing, maybe even feeling a lot like Fallout. We'll see. What's interesting is there will be no non-player characters in this game. It's going to be a world fully populated by people who exist and are on the other end of the internet. Honestly, it's also the most non-traditional setting, being that we've seen a lot of wilderness that is just fine, not really having a lot of problems as regarding to the nuclear stuff. It's really interesting. I look forward to post-apocalyptic West Virginia very much, and I will be certainly checking it out on November 14th when it hits PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Which game are you looking forward to the most in November? Leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking, and if you want to see more of our videos, which we upload here every single day, don't forget to click subscribe and for sure that notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.